Hello, happy new moon, full moon, big full moon today. It's not a new moon, it's a full moon. Happy and welcome. So it's Friday afternoon where I am. It's about 2:15, 2:20, and it is a full moon day. It was a full moon last night, and it's going to be a full moon through part of the night tonight. And there's also an eclipse. So for some people, they're really paying attention to the eclipse energy as well as the full moon. So it can be a big day emotionally. I'm seeing a lot of posts from friends and colleagues about releasing. So releasing things that no longer serve us, that are no longer in our highest good, letting them go, time to just step forward into whatever your truth is and whatever is best and good for you right now. So I thought I would jump on and do a live. And I am looking at my computer. We'll have to do an update on my computer. I got a new phone and I see that my computer's running a bit slow since I did that upgrade. So I'll have to do some cleaning. So my apologies if the voice video is not exactly right, because I can see it a bit in my version of the video. So hopefully it doesn't show up too bad, and I'll have to work on that for future lives. So whether you're jumping on this right now, whether you're jumping on this later and just seeing it, open your intuition, open your oracle guidance, and to let you know, what do you need to know today? What would be useful for you during this full moon energy as we approach the weekend? And for us in Eastern Canada, I live in Western Quebec, we are in the full bloom of summer, moving towards August. And so of course, in the Southern Hemisphere, they're in winter, moving towards spring, later winter, moving towards spring. So this for us is a big bloom time, a big blossom time, in the sense of everything is vibrant. It's very green, brown in some areas because we had a drought phase, and thankfully we did receive rain, and not too much from what I heard reports of, so just enough to really soak in and do some good. I will come back to talk a little bit about weather and other places around the world. So I just wanted to say that we're in deep summer here, so hence the bathing suit under the tank top, because it's that kind of a day. I'm blessed to be able to work at home today, and to have some time to go into my garden and my wild area. So you can see my other post where I shared a picture of a lily that my mom planted on my property. She's head gardener most of the time, and there's a really big grasshopper on it. So as we move into August, that becomes grasshopper and cricket season here. So it's already there. They're already singing. They're hopping around the garden as you go around. But I thought that was an interesting shot. So let's see what the cards want to bring up. And I bring out all of my decks when I do these readings to see which one wants to come and chat with us. I love working with them all. I have a particular fondness for the Earth Magic deck, and that is actually the one that wanted to come out today. So this is the Earth Magic Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer. And so we're going to pull a card for our full moon day. And so I would love you to take a deep breath whenever you're listening to this, whether it's today or 4 days from now. If you're listening, you can always gain insights. You can gain insights and reflect and join in. As I see somebody's just joined in. Thank you very much. Hi, Sarah. Nice to have you here. Just doing a full moon. I'm going to pull a card for the full moon. So whenever you join in, whether it's live, whether it's later, whether it comes onto your timeline in a week, if you're drawn to listen and to take a pause, listen to your own intuition, listen to your own guidance, as well as what I say, because that's how this works, right? We're just giving each other a time to chat and sit and breathe a little bit, and then you can get guidelines as I do as well. Okay, so hi, Sarah. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me okay. My computer might be a little bit slow, so responses might be a bit slow, but hopefully it's not too bad. I know the video looks a little slow on my end, so fingers crossed that it's okay. Okay, full moon energy, deep summer, midsummer in terms of how we experience summer here, late July, eclipse coming later on this afternoon. So for anybody who will tune in later from Europe, from the UK, you guys will be able to see it. In North America, we're not going to really be able to see the eclipse at all, but it doesn't mean we won't feel it. So some people will feel it. Okay, good. It seems. Yay! Happy. All right. So I have my Earth Magic Oracle cards, and we're going to see which card comes up for today. So we talked about dryness, the desert, the vision quest. Okay. And I like it when it does this, when I say, oh, I'll come back and I'll talk about weather a little later. And then it's like, why don't you talk about it now? So we pull a desert card. So we were not at desert level, thankfully. But we did definitely have quite a drought phase for us for July. And it was really quite interesting for me to observe how people responded. And a lot of people just really seemed to have almost no clue that the fact that we were having no rain was actually a challenge and was a problem for farmers and for forests, for wildlife, for growth, for gardens, for water tables in terms of how you use water around your home and in your home. So I found it quite fascinating that a lot of people just seemed completely oblivious to the fact that going 3+ weeks, I think it was about 3 weeks, with no water and greater than 30-degree temperatures with full sun creates a bit of a challenge for where we live. Some places it's always like that, and it creates its challenges because of it. But for us, it is not considered to be usual and normal. At least not in the last few years, thankfully. So I hope that, when I post things about inviting people to pray with me or send out intentions for rain, my hope is also that it brings awareness that we need to be noticing these things. We need to be paying attention to these things because it's how the earth communicates with us. And it's also how we communicate with the earth, because if we have no clue when things are out of balance, how can we help it? Now, of course, there's a lot of people who did know, who do understand, who work with it from a land perspective, much more than I do, work with it from an energy perspective, from a historical viewpoint. So there's a lot of people who are aware, but there's a lot of people who had no clue at all. So it was interesting. So here we have the desert, the vision quest. And what I feel is coming forward is sort of where ideas are already on my head, in that whether we forget how impacted the world is by the weather. So I remember a few days ago, and I had planned to post it, and I don't remember why I didn't, if the evening just got away from me or just didn't feel right that day. But I was driving home, and we were hoping to get some rain. And then we were hearing, of course, about the forest fires in Greece. We have forest fires going on in northern Quebec, but it's not such a populated area. Still devastating, but not such a populated area or tourist area. Then I was hearing about floods. I believe it was somewhere in the United States or perhaps Asia. There were some extreme floods in different places. So we tend to forget how impacted our lives are here and everywhere on the earth by the weather. And the more that we respect it, the more we try to work with the natural balance, the better we'll be as individuals and as a whole. Because humans really won't last all that long and do very well with it. We will last, but we won't do very well if the natural world around us tends to fall out of balance, because we are not actually great at making balance. We're not great at creating balance in our own lives as a human species, most people, and we're not great at creating balance or allowing the balance of nature to actually do its stuff. We tend to interfere and intervene and create shifts and changes. So I feel part of this desert vision quest card is a reminder about the intricacies of our world, the weather system, the awareness of how things work, and hoping that we can all continue to learn and share and do so very, very quickly. Because in some aspects I don't want to say we're running out of time because that's a bit doomsday, but we have some really, really big, hefty decisions to make in the near future. And I am like many of you, I don't know how to do it because they're so big and it's such a shift from our daily routine, but they also need to happen. So if anybody who watches this, I invite you to share if you've heard, great ideas about innovation that's coming up for maybe keeping water or for preserving water or for using renewable energy, any of that stuff. I invite you to share it. I invite you to talk about it, because the more this happens, the more great ideas will be inspired and the more innovation, and companies will see that people are actually very, very interested. I know for myself, my next car, fingers crossed, hopefully not this year, I doubt, but is going to be an electric and gas, so I can do both. And I really hope that we'll be able to do that. We're very fortunate here that we have quite a lot of electricity, but even that, there are new ways that we could be generating it. So that's one part of the desert, is really acknowledging. And I know that at least one person on this call has been to Sedona and been to areas that look like this deep, deep red rock. I have not myself, but I know other people have. So it's remembering that there are different energies to different places, and it's never right or wrong. It's never you have to go to that place in order to feel something. It's just that certain places in the world will feel more like a certain type of energy, or allow you to experience more of something than you would in your daily living. So if you're feeling that you would only be able to get that when you go away to these sacred places, then my suggestion would be to bring in what could you do in a more regular existence in your life to bring in that sacredness, okay? To bring in that understanding of what am I already getting senses of? What am I already feeling and picking up in my own life and experiencing? And how can I make that even more sacred? How can I make that more enjoyable, more fulfilling, more empowering? Feel a greater connection with myself? These would be things to look at. How do you bring these into your daily living, into your everyday? Okay, so that you don't have to wait until you can go to what's classified as a sacred place, because not everybody can get there every 2 weeks or every month or even every year. So make some sacred space, bring that in, allow that in. And especially if you've got any natural world around you. I'm blessed to have a forest, live on a treed property. So we have these things right around us, right? We have areas that are very sacred, even if they're not classified as a sacred zone. Hi, Rhonda. Glad you could pop in. So it's important for us to bring those in. And I feel like sometimes a day like a full moon, which is today, is an opportunity for people to connect and maybe think about things in terms of, okay, there's a bigger perspective going on here than my life and how I experience life. Because the moon is basically, I was reading a little bit on a particular website, Space, I think it was space.com or Space, I think it was space.com, a little bit about the full moon. So I'm always interested, and about the eclipse that's coming, what times and things. And they wrote that, it's our biggest satellite going around the Earth. And you kind of go, huh, that's right. The moon is a big satellite. We didn't put it there. It's naturally present, but it's still a big satellite. And you get a very sort of Star Trek, Star Wars moment. You go, ooh, the moon. And you remember that it's actually, out in space. But it also brings that connectivity of how something that is out in space has an impact on our life, and how then we can use that to impact and improve our own life as well as others around us. Not always super easy, so you can start really, really small. Start with your own life. You don't have to feel as though you've got to solve everybody's stuff today. The other part of this vision quest, I'm just going to look at this card again. So the vision quest, something that I plan to do this afternoon, is to spend some meditation time. So the vision quest is to remind you, I feel as though on this day, it's to remind you to really put together what are your visions for your next phase of your life. And it doesn't have to be 25 years. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 1 week. It could be the weekend. Whatever feels like it would be a pertinent phase for you. Could be this afternoon. If you've had a tough time, then go smaller, go more close to you. And then look and say, what is that vision for that phase that I want to create, that I want to bring in, that I want to design and allow to be? So as we look at the vision quest, it's saying, okay, well, when we think about the adventure movies, right? You think about adventure movies. I'm thinking about, Lord of the Rings, where they go on a massive quest. Indiana Jones, he's always going on a quest for something. So they have a specific quest. Well, for a lot of humans, we don't have a specific quest. The experience of life and the learning and the expanding is, in many ways, our quest. And being happy along the way can be very important. So look at, what is that next little phase of my life, or big phase, depending on how you feel about it, and set your vision. So what would you like to see come into your life? How would you like your life to feel? What would you like to experience and share with others? So this is setting some vision so that when you take that next step, whether it's in half an hour or in a year from now, you have created something that you're working with the energy in the universe about. Okay? And today's great because with that full moon energy, you can bring the light. You're shedding light on stuff. With an eclipse, you'll see things shut down and then come back up with a shift in the light. So you can really play with those energies to be, okay, I am adapting, I'm changing what no longer serves me, what is so important to me, and bring them all together. Okay? I felt like I did a lot of blah, blah talking there, so hopefully it made sense, at least a little bit. Hopefully you can feel it too. Take some time to do that vision quest a little bit later if you feel like it. And I think there's also a reminder here to go back to some of the really, really basics. So vision quest. Big dry rock. Okay, beautiful blue sky. So what are your basics in your life? Humans, especially in industrialized countries, in North America particularly, because that's where I live, we get really complicated because there's so much to do in a day. There's so much that we feel we have to do in a life. But ultimately, there are some very, very basic things. So water, very, very basic. So drink enough water today. Allow that water to have an impact and move with you and shift with you with the moon energy. We know it affects oceans, so for sure it will affect humans, okay? So enough water, all right? That's one of the basics. What other basics would be very important to you today? All right, so we're going to pull one more card, and they're all over the place. So I've had them flipping over, I've had them jumping out of my hand. Okay, so the follow-up for the vision quest on this full moon eclipse day. The eclipse, I believe, is going to start in about an hour. That's from what I understand. So if you're on a computer or on your smartphone, you might be able to catch it by webcast, it in person somewhere if you're curious. Okay, there's the card. So it's an all earth magic day. Nice. Okay. So then we get the unfoldment, the lotus card, the lotus flower card, sorry. All right. And this has a beautiful, I'll bring it closer, see if my camera can pick it up. This has a beautiful sun up the top. There's a hand supporting the sun, just cupping it in the clouds. And it's a gorgeous, supportive card. So whatever else is going on today, however this day feels topsy-turvy and all over the place, and maybe not so much fun, and maybe very unsettling and really confusing, I feel as though this card is coming out to say, you know, just take it one step at a time. You're unfolding, you're growing, you are supported, and hopefully you're supportive to others. So just take it nice and slow, nice and easy, all right? One step at a time. The lotus flower doesn't suddenly appear. It starts in the ground, it goes up, it goes through the water. But I don't actually know, I'd have to look it up about lotus flowers, but my impression from this card is that it would start in the sand and then, or the ground, and then it would go up through the water, and eventually it would lead to the top, or it might do the opposite. Sometimes as a seed, and then it will go down and it will send its roots down into the sand. So it's possible both ways, depending on the seed. So you can do it both ways too. It's entirely allowed, right? If you feel like you're going top down, that's okay. If you feel like you're going bottom up, that's okay too. So you're expanding and you're allowing yourself to grow, and really remember that you're on a journey, okay? So what are you experiencing today? What is difficult? What's great? What makes you feel happy? What is challenging you? And just be aware, not to dwell on those things, but just to be aware, all right? And then were you to shift it, where would you like to feel more happy? What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What brings you support, right? And let those things allow your blossoming and allow the unfoldment. Okay. So take a deep breath and allow certain emotions just to flow up and flow through you. And I remember it was, I'm not going to remember. Hold on, I'm just fixing my thing here. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize people were commenting. My thingy wasn't moving down. Yes, okay, so we got bottles of water. Hi, Rhonda, happy, yay, thank you. I didn't see that people were joining. You were staring at the moon last night. That's awesome. Yeah, how big it must be. That's right, we forget how big it is. Okay, so my apologies. I didn't see your posts as they were coming in. So I was just saying about emotions. There was a great workshop I went to early on in the interest in this kind of work. And of course, I'm going to completely forget the name of the woman on West Island. She's psychic. And anyway, Sharon, is it possible? Sharon? Sorry, totally sorry. Gonna forget her name. But it was a good workshop, and it was talking about being a sort of medical intuitive and connecting with guides and connecting with spirit. And one of the things that she said, amongst others, that really stuck with me was how we can let emotions flow through us. So in the sense that when you feel a big emotion, rather than pushing it away, you want to actually feel what it's bringing you and then let it sort of flow through you. So you don't stay stuck in that, but you do feel it and then you let it flow through you. All right. And so the idea is that instead of denying it, you're actually allowing it. And that's a very water-esque kind of thing to do, right? The water is a certain type of real emotion. So when we've got this lotus flower, so we have one with no water, the desert, or very, very deep water and only occasionally really raining. And then we've got the lotus flower coming up through water. And so just, I felt as though somebody's sort of got emotions that are really playing with them, and not always in the fun way. So instead of denying them, just let yourself feel it. Carry tissues with you if you need to. Let yourself feel it, but then let them sort of wash over you and wash onto the next phase of your life. So you're not staying stuck in them, but you're not denying them completely either. And this is probably really important in this full moon, especially with an eclipse, because emotions will, for some people, get a bit raw. And some people around you will get more anxious, get more emotional. So if people are behaving a little differently today, maybe just, give them a little bit of space, send them good vibes, wish them well, and just take care of your own space and your own energy. So I always plan to come on for like 10 minutes and do it quick, and I'm always like half an hour. So it's just the way it is. So I know a couple people joined in. I'm happy that you did. I hope more will see it at another point. This is Sheila Bicknell, BlueWater Oracle, and we have been touching base on the full moon energy, pulling a few cards from Stephen Farmer's Earth Magic deck, which is a Hay House deck. And we went through the desert with the Vision Quest card, and then the Lotus Flower with the unfoldment. And I will just finish off, because I've got that little reminder, with the desert card. We talked a bit about weather, but I also want to just invite you, if you have an opportunity today, it doesn't have to be on Facebook, it can be in private, where you really send thoughts, good vibes, good intentions to areas around the world that are being challenged with weather, whether it's lack of rain, too much rain. I don't know if there's places that are getting a lot of snow right now, because we don't hear about them as much, but maybe too hot, maybe an unusual chilly snap, tornadoes, anything, forest fires. Those are big ones that we've heard of. So some people say that there is no value in sending thoughts and prayers. That makes no sense to me when it comes to energy. If you can send aid in terms of money or goods, then of course that's also so important and very valuable. But when you're not able to do that, or when you just need to do something that's fast and quick, use those intentions that you have. Use that capacity to feel compassion for other people and to send intentions to our earth. And always remember to put boundaries on intentions in the sense of weather. So if you just say, I want it to rain tons and tons because it hasn't rained, well, it's possible that it will rain tons and tons, and then we'll have floods. So put it in a balance. I will sometimes say it for the, just for the highest good of all, or say a nice gentle rain, nourishing, to bring things back into a healthier balance. You can use terminology. I don't always worry too much about this, but sometimes when we're really, really hoping for something like weather, a weather change, it is important to put a little bit of a boundary on it so that we can balance throughout the world what's necessary and what's important for us. Okay. I would love to hear your stories, any sort of vision quest things that you've had. I mentioned a little bit earlier, any shifts and change and things that are happening today with the full moon. So I would love to hear it. So touch base with me here. And again, it's Sheila Bicknell, BlueWater Oracle, giving you an Oracle guidance reading today. And I look forward to touching base with you on Facebook. So you can reach me here, message me, or bluewater100@gmail.com. And I'm available to do in-person readings, private by Skype, and also in the Montreal region in person at my office in Beaconsfield. So hope to hear from you soon, and I wish you all the best on this amazing full moon day. Take care.